All right. Hello. Whenever you guys watch this, hope you guys are doing well. Um, Today I'm going to share with you some frustrations I've been having in terms of this one video game. It's really kind of starting to annoy me, but basically, I've been playing a lot of video games lately. I think probably to an unhealthy degree, probably. But I have been playing, one of my childhood games. They remade it for the Nintendo Switch called Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. I think it's really fun. And recently, or I guess ever since I started playing it, I started to play what's called a Nuzlocke in this franchise or in this video game series, right? Where basically just try it just basically increases the difficulty because this game is made for children, like for 5 to 7 year olds, right? And so it's a very easy game normally, but the way that I'm playing it, it basically forces me to, Pokemon is like these random animals that fight each other, right? So whenever one of them dies, or faints in the game, I actually have to like get rid of it, right? So it forces me to do a lot of be a lot more careful when I'm playing this as opposed to when I was like 7 to 10 and I would just like do whatever I want. It's very frustrating. I did not expect for a video game like this to like be as frustrating as it is, but it's one of those things where I am realizing just how much I am, imbalanced in my personality type by the way I play this game, right? So specifically, when I first started playing it, I just did whatever I wanted. I would explore whatever I wanted, and I was extremely careless, right? I would do things that weren't optimal. I would, pick moves that weren't the best. I would, do all this type of stuff, and I would just keep losing. I would get game over screens again and again and again, and it was just extremely frustrating. And I think, but this is something that I think is extremely valuable from an OP perspective, specifically because David and Shane have compared specifically the animal of sleep to playing a video game. Now, unfortunately, I don't know where that Q&A is, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my checklist, just kind of share with you what my thought process is as to why I would connect these two things, and then just kind of share with you how I guess I'm learning about the sleep animal by losing a bunch to this game, right? So let me start with the checklist here. This is one that I've been working on slowly over time, and hopefully eventually it can be something I can share, more publicly. But basically, this is my OP list of definitions and all that stuff. So specifically, I'm going to go to the sleep animal. So sleep is one of the four animals. What it means is that this is like a type of behavioral pattern or a way of approaching the world. Everyone does it, right? Because everyone does everything. But there are some people who are very addicted to it, who have saver sleep, and there's some people who, like me, who rarely do it enough, right? So sleep is defined as stopping and going over known information, or learning via repetition, right? Dave and Shan also use words like processing, being resolved, making plans for the self, controlling the self. There's a lot of synonyms that they use, but I personally like these definitions, right? And there was a Q&A, I can't find it, but I know for sure they had a conversation like this where they talked about, they used a comparison of, I guess they were playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out. So this is a video game back in the day where it's like, you would have all these levels of boxing, right? And it would get more difficult. Each level would just get more difficult naturally, right? And so they compared sleep to what Dave does with video games, because apparently he plays like 2 video games, where they will repeat a level again and again and again, even if they've beaten it, right? They'll stop and practice each level until they master it and then move on to the next level, right? And whereas I think they actually compared play to playing a video game, trying a bunch of random stuff, accidentally beating one of the levels, but then what ends up happening is they haven't learned the lesson that level was supposed to teach them, so that, even if they go to a very high level, they talk about play people being scared because they're like, okay, if I have to repeat this again, I have no idea how I'm going to get through it again, right? So from a video game standpoint, I know this is a very almost silly comparison, but that's what I've been experiencing, right? So I've been playing this Pokemon game, right? And I've been losing at like, in various places, right? And, and also I've been succeeding in various places, but, I wouldn't know how to repeat it. So, the next time I lost, I would lose at a level that I thought I beat. So I'm like, how did I lose at like, level 1? I was at level 10 last time that I played this, right? But basically what it's starting to force me to do, because I don't like losing stuff. So it's like, it's forcing me to actually pay more attention to, okay, what, like, why am I choosing this move? Why am I going in this direction? Why did I choose this over that? And it's forcing me to, create this almost system in my head of, okay, I know the pathway that I'm going to take, right? I'm an observer, so I'm kind of emphasizing the pathway. I want to show you briefly what that looks like. Again, this is going to be very nerdy, very childish, but this game is freaking hard. And like, so eventually what ended up happening is I have a Google Doc for it, right? This is how silly it gets, right? So this is my Google Doc for this video game. I'm not sure if you can see it. Let's see if the camera, there you go. So I took like a bunch of notes. So the first thing was just the rules, right? So the rules is, if a Pokemon faints, it dies. There's a game over screen. There's certain things that you can and can't do, right? So these are just the basic rules. But then here's where I think the sleep starts coming in, is like, I have notes now. I'm like, okay, because I'm not going to remember, the next time I play it if I lose off of some BS. So I have like little tips that I give for myself to beat each level, right? So it's like, okay, level, this is going to be very mundane, but basically, prepare. That's basically what this means. Like, prepare before fighting a boss battle, right? Get certain types, and then here's little strategies and stuff like that. I believe that this, as silly as it is kind of an example of what sleep looks like, especially with SI, where it's like, here are the rules that are going to get me through each level, and it's like, just follow the instructions. I feel like SI Sleep in particular is very, it emphasizes this, just trust the instructions that you created and just follow it so that you don't have to like repeat the same pain that you had like 10 times. And then also, it's like, one thing that I also start tracking is, okay, let me actually remind myself of what I experienced at each level, basically. So like, I'll take notes on what I had, what struggles I had. I recently lost one, so it's like, that's why it's all blank right now. But like, there would be notes about, okay, I chose this and I ran into this and maybe I should use this move and that. So anyway, I just wanted to share that briefly. I feel like this comparison, I think David Chan mentioned the video game analogy once and then never came back to it. So I did want to kind of just revisit it. So I guess the moral of the story is, whether you play video games or not, right? I do think that life is very much the same way. There are certain things that there are certain levels in life, right? There's a certain level of finances, there's certain things in professional, certain things in personal, social, things like that. And as I guess what I'm recommending is, especially if you're save or play, don't just rush in and just randomly try stuff and just hope for the best, right? Go through, and even if you feel like you've handled that situation, repeat the process of, getting what you want in those areas, right? So for example, financially, how can I get to the point where I'm out of debt, right? Like, what exactly do I do? What are the steps? What is the plan of action to get good at my job? What's the plan of action to get good socially, right? And basically repeat each level, right? Repeat each process over and over again until it's like mastered and you no longer have to worry about it, right? And I think that, the video game analogy basically would be like, repeat the level until without fail you're gonna beat it every single time, right? So other than that, I just wanted to share my frustrations with this freaking video game. It's so annoying, but hope this was at least somewhat valuable or at least entertaining. I'll put my checklist in the description below. And then also, I guess for you gamers, if you're interested in like Nuzlocke and stuff like that, I'll just put a link also below for like what the rule set is and why it's so difficult. It's really, like, I'm finding it hard, right? But other than that, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to take a little break from work as well. Have a great day when you watch this, and I will see you in the next video that I make. Take care.